wrong space. You've allowed yourself to be in a space that people can interrupt you, or that there can be interruption. So you allow yourself to be in a space that has people that are going to stop and talk to you, or that has a television that you can turn on, or has a bed that you can go sleep in. You're choosing the wrong time of day to study. So, I don't know when that is. For most people, it's in the evening. There are more distractions in the evening. That could be because you're at home and now all of a sudden there are people around, or there are roommates around, or family members around. So allowing others to steal your time, meaning they can kind of come in and take that time from you. And the last point was the one in the back of the room, is usually we will procrastinate and not do things because we don't know how to do it, or we're not sure that if we did do it, we would do it well. So we'll just continue to put it off because it's uncomfortable. But the problem with that is you continue to put it off and the deadline keeps getting closer, and then your stress just increases even more. So I would challenge you to think about what are some things that you can do then so that this doesn't happen. And I don't want to give you the answer. So give me an example right now of where is a wrong study space for you, and what's an alternative then?
My room.
So your room is a big distractor. So Lauren, where can Lauren go?
The study room or the library.
You have access to a study room or a library. Okay. How many of you do a lot of your work in your department? In an office? Can you get away from that space, or are people able to kind of come in and out? And
People can come in and out.
Okay.
And certainly having a computer with internet access is not an library.
okay,
So, either disconnecting the internet or going to the library to either get reading done or analysis.
okay. So some of that is to think about too. Can you shut the door to your office if you're working for a department and say, okay, during this period of time, please don't just, walk in and ask me questions or knock, or, are you allowed to leave and go somewhere else for a while? As long as you are doing work-related stuff, you're going to say, but I'm going to go to the library where nobody can bother me. The computer there are software programs out there now that will allow you to, shut down certain sites so that you're not tempted to go on them, so maybe that's an option. What's the wrong time of day to study for some of you?
After midnight?
After midnight, okay. Hopefully you're in bed by then. I would hope you would be in bed after midnight. But again, think about how your work day is scheduled or how your class day is scheduled. Again, if you're trying to study during the day, but maybe you're in a common area in the department where people can come in and out, then maybe you do have to study, in the evening when you're at home and no one's going to bother you. If you have a house full of people or an apartment full of people that you go home to in the evening, then maybe you don't go home and you stay here on campus. But I don't know the answer, only you do. But again, we don't want to allow others to steal your time. And then what are the resources that are available to you if you don't know how to do an assignment or you're not sure that you can do it? What are some of the resources that your departments offer?
There's office hours and tutoring.
Okay, so what department are you in?
I'm in physics.
Okay, so the physics department has, well, all departments should have office hours. There are tutors available?
I don't know, I'm a graduate student. But
Okay.
I would imagine there's tutors just in general.
Okay,
The university.
sure. Does anybody else know what their department offers as a source of help? So most of you is going to be your professors and your graduate students. The other thing that I know that's available for graduate students is the Writing Resource Center. Does see graduate students. And the Office of Educational Services for Students sees graduate students also. So you can come speak with someone in our office if you're struggling. But, and then I'm sure the library, your resource librarians and things of that nature could be a source for help. And then sometimes a source for help is, the internet. But knowing what's good resources and what's not so good resources. But TED Talks and Khan Academy and things of that nature can be very helpful. So let's take a few moments to brainstorm some ideas about how to spend our time more efficiently. So based on kind of what I've been talking about and maybe some of the thinking that you've done, what are some things you think you might be able to do differently?
Find a space that's free distractions.
Okay, so looking for new distraction-free spaces. Does anybody have any secret distraction-free spaces on campus they'd like to share? Nowhere?
It's not secret, but the health sciences library is pretty effective for me.
The Health Sciences Library? Okay. Is that the medical museum?
No, that's the other one.
Okay, so from what I understand, that one is also very good.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Where's the Health Sciences
It's
Library?
on the health sciences campus, part of the med school.
Oh, okay.
That's
So I'm always learning new things, so yeah, the third floor of KSL I heard is very quiet. I'm a big proponent of just finding an empty classroom. If there's not anybody using it, why not go in there? What are some other options?
There's like key-in spaces, and like here's a lab you can get into, but not everybody uses it. So like maybe a spot like that.
Okay. So maybe the department have places that are on key card access only? What other things can you do?
Sometimes I go to coffee shops, like local coffee shops that don't have internet. That's like good, so I could just
Oh, so her suggestion is to go somewhere that you can't get internet access. So even though so you're still at a coffee shop, so maybe you're getting some social background noise, but not necessarily people will know you to stop you and talk. I do make that suggestion. There are some students that do like to study around other people, and having that noise and that background noise is good, and that's great. My suggestion is then just go somewhere where no one would know you. So that way they don't just stop and say hi. So you're still getting, this human kind of interaction and noise that's going on, but not necessarily someone that's going to come up and say, hi, Sarah, while you're in the middle of something.
A good place for that is actually the Algebra Tea House
Okay.
over near Little Italy. Like, they do have internet access, but it usually isn't too crowded, and like, I personally have never seen anyone that I know go there.
Algebra Tea House. They have those couches in the back too. Yeah, so you have to find those places that are going to work for you. See if we can go there. My suggestion would, take advantage of time between classes or between lab or between research or whatever you're doing. There tend to be like random hours during the day that we just don't know what happens to them. And when I have students write down their schedule for the day, there usually seems to be like weird breaks of time. And when I ask them what they do, they usually don't know. But when I have them write down their classes and what they need to do, there's usually a class or some activity that takes like 2 hours. And then we go, look, there's this really pretty chunk of 2 hours that you have in between, during the day. Why are you saving that and waiting to do it in the evening? Or, why are you waiting? So it's not a bad idea to study with others as long as you're getting studying done. And actually there's a lot of research that shows that collaborative learning is very effective, because if you're able to explain it to someone else, then you know that you understand it. And it's also good to be able to ask someone questions so they can clarify, or maybe they can explain it in a way different than the professor that you'll understand better. If you can, you can study outside of the apartment or the home, to reduce those distractions. That's never a bad idea. If you can leave the computer and the phone off. Now, I'm not telling you don't take it with you, especially I've never telling anybody not to take their phone with them, just for safety. But it doesn't need to be on. Like, really think about, for 2 hours of my life or 3 hours of my life, I made a commitment to do X. What could possibly happen unless there's some sort of family emergency or something going, or maybe you have young children or something of that nature. What would happen if no one could get in contact with you for 2 to 3 hours? probably the world wouldn't end, and you'd be a lot more productive and you'd actually get some things done, right? So, just kind of thinking about some of those things. Can you turn it off? Do you need to have a computer to get done what you need to get done? If it's just reading, and I mean literally if it's just reading and reading a book or doing some things of that nature, why do you need your computer with you? So maybe the idea is just don't even take it with you, if you can. And be sure to take advantage of those resources that are out there available to you through your departments. So this is an example of the activity that we just did, but I wanted you to do it early. And then hopefully the majority of you have some sort of plan or schedule that looks like this, where, what I would ask you to do then is write in the hours of things that are definite for you each week. And then really looking and seeing where you have those white spaces, where you have gaps, and are you using those effectively? And really thinking about, with all of the classes that you're taking, now that we're 8 weeks into the semester, you pretty much have an idea of what the class weekly requirements are and how long things take. I would be writing down each one of those classes each week, what needs to get done, estimating how much time I think it would take, and I would go back and I would look at a schedule like this and say, I just wrote down X class has 2 hours worth of reading to do that I need to get done by Wednesday. When's the best time in my schedule to schedule a 2-block hour for reading? I have a lab that I have to run that's going to take, X amount of hours to go through the process. But I have to sit there the whole time just to make sure nothing goes wrong, and I have reading. So maybe I'll take, this book for this and do the reading at that time. I don't know your schedule, but truly looking at where you could fit those things in so that you're not trying to cram it all on the weekend, or you're not trying to cram it all in the evening. And then the last part I want to talk about is students often do a poor job on assignments because they wait till the last minute and they try to do large assignments all at once. And really thinking about between now and the end of the semester for the next week, is there a way for you to take the things that are overwhelming you, that are large to do, and break them down into smaller pieces? Because a lot of that procrastination that we talked about, that was, something is just so overwhelming. But sometimes breaking something down into its smaller pieces, which is, anybody here working on a research project right now? Yeah, pretty good. So what are you working on?
Well, I'm working on my thesis.
You're working on your thesis. Okay, you have it from now until
For another 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Or 4, hopefully 3.
Okay. So what do you need to accomplish by the end of this semester?
It depends how results come.
Okay.
I think that is the problem with graduate school and time management. You don't know what you're going to have ahead of time.
Okay.
So a lot of the times is you just go with it. It's like, this result is good, I can do this, but if the result's bad, then I have to do this.
Then you have to do that. What do you have control over now, though?
Right now,
Mhm.
some of the testing, analysis.
Okay. And then is there a way to break that down over the next couple of weeks so that you're not
Yeah.
doing it? So, because some of it you don't have any control over, especially if you're waiting, and especially if you're waiting on someone else. How many of you are waiting on someone else, or working with someone else on data? Or sending out and asking for people to send information, right? So that can be very frustrating, right? You're waiting for something. What is your research?
Working on my thesis as well.
You're working on
I have
your thesis.
a paper with a collaborator in France, and so the time difference kind of makes it a little hard to send corrections back and forth. I'm also trying to write my thesis, I'll be finished in May, so.
Okay. So now you have the extra added difficulty of working with someone that's a continent away on top of that. So, the idea is, if there are some concrete goals that you can set to work towards them, if you can break them down, that can reduce some stress, maybe. I mean, what are you doing?
Me?
Yep.
I'm doing med school
Okay.
and PhD work.
Okay. So, in what process are you in right now?
Second year of med school, so primarily focused on med school, but I also have a grad class that I have to do on top of that.
On top of that, okay. So yours may be breaking down, what do you have to do for each one each week?